Hello everyone, and welcome back to Turkish Spotlight Secrets, the place where we slow the headlines down, give you the context they deserve, and tell the story in a voice you can run cleanly through text-to-speech. Today's episode follows a rumor that started as a whisper on a studio corridor and, by nightfall, had turned into the only topic anyone in the fandom wanted to discuss: Yağmur Yüksel and Baris Bakas, the leads of Kensesekleri, and a four-word sentence allegedly spoken in the most ordinary of moments: "Marry me, Baris." Before we dive into timelines and reactions, a reminder of the ground rules we keep on this channel: when we talk about private lives, we keep our verbs careful. If something isn't on the record, we name it a report, a claim, a rumor. We match heat with light. And we keep the focus on what the people involved have actually shown us for months: professionalism, discipline, and a respect for the work that made audiences care in the first place. Now, how did a quiet afternoon on set turn into a trending storm? The day the rumor was born. According to multiple crew side accounts we've heard variations of, it was an ordinary production day, heavy on dialogue and close-ups. The schedule showed a cluster of emotionally layered scenes for Yağmur Yüksel and Baris Bakas, the kind that live or die on breath control and micropauses. After a long take, the first assistant director called a 10-minute break. Cameras caught covers, the sound team checked levels, and the set thinned the way sets do when everyone is trying to drink water and read ahead at the same time. It was in that between time, somewhere near the lighting crates, out of earshot of main cameras, that witnesses say Yağmur and Baris took a step off to the side with scripts folded in their hands. There's agreement on the shape of what followed, even if the phrasing shifts from retelling to retelling. Yağmur Yüksel, voice low but steady, told Baris Bakas that the boundary between the character's feeling and her own had stopped feeling like a boundary at all. The line that detonated the internet came next, reportedly simple, without flourish: "Marry me." No lighting cue. No dramatic gesture. No kneeling. Just four words that rearranged the air around two people who have spent months making the rest of us believe in four other words: action and cut. What happened in the seconds after? It is here that the stories diverge into edits of the same scene. In the versions that feel most adult, Baris Bakas didn't panic and didn't perform. He listened. He asked for clarity: was this a metaphor for "don't let this be casual," or a literal proposal to start building a private life beyond call sheets? He thanked Yağmur for trusting him enough to put a fragile thing into the air, and then he did the thing steady people do when confronted by a decision that can't be made responsibly in a breath: he asked for time. A coffee after wrap. A walk somewhere that isn't a corridor. A conversation without the clock ticking down to the next slate. You can feel the weight of that choice. In a workplace that turns everything into content, refusing to make content out of a confession is a kind of respect. How the whisper left the room. So how did a private exchange, handled quietly, end up outside in under an hour? The same way many set-side stories do. A well-meaning retelling to a friend who won't repeat it, a text that traveled faster than the intent behind it, and then a caption that replaced nuance with impact. Within minutes, fan pages were asking whether Dylan and Baron, the characters audiences have lived with for months, had finally handed their scripts to the people playing them. Two hashtags took the lead. One framed the moment as a victory for fearless love. The other argued for restraint, reminding everyone that actors often carry their characters' heat in their bodies long after the director says cut. Edits surfaced, stitching together lingering looks, unscripted laughs between takes, and press-day answers that now sounded, to eager ears, like foreshadowing. Inside the production response. To their credit, the people whose job is to protect sets from storms did not flail. The production manager kept the day moving. The second AD tightened the schedule to buy breathing room. A trusted coach. Someone who has been in the rehearsal trenches with Yağmur and Baris from the pilot, repositioned the afternoon's coverage to reduce needless intimacy while the air cleared. This wasn't punishment, it was stewardship. The crew didn't want a rumor to do what rumors often do: turn every ordinary gesture into a referendum. Later that evening, the line producer, a human resources liaison, and a senior member of the directing team did what healthy productions do in moments that could distort a working dynamic. They offered both actors separate rooms to talk, and then, if desired, a short joint check-in to decide how to keep the day safe and honest. The headline for those meetings wasn't scandal. It was continuity: keep the work clean, keep the people whole. Why this landed so hard with the audience? Anyone surprised by the intensity of the reaction hasn't watched the way viewers have built a relationship with these two through consisekleri. The show asked Yağmur, Yüksel and Baris Bakas to play a romance that never relied on cheap shortcuts. It lived on small courage, patience, and the relief that arrives when two people figure out how not to talk past each other. When actors sell that with precision over months, audiences start reading life through the show's grammar. Of course, 4 quiet words from Yağmur would feel like an echo of the scenes fans rewind. Of course, a measured response from Baris would feel, rightly or wrongly, like the adult version of the character choices viewers applauded. There's another reason this hit like weather. The confession was shaped like a question that many people wish they had asked once, when the timing wasn't perfect but the feeling was. Marry me, in this retelling, wasn't a demand. It was a shortcut. A way to ask, are we building something, or are we pretending we aren't? The spectrum of possible meanings. Slow down with us and consider what marry me could have meant on that corridor. It could have been literal, an unadorned proposal from a person tired of pretending a private certainty needs elaborate staging to count. It could have been metaphoric shorthand for, don't minimize this, a plea to treat what's growing with adult seriousness. It could have been a line half borrowed from a script read earlier in the day, finding new color in the mouth of the person saying it now. It could have been a test balloon for a conversation that needed a sharper edge to get past 2 layers of professional habit. All 4 readings are compatible with humanity. None require scandal to be interesting. What we know about the people behind the names. Strip away the edits and you're left with 2 professionals who have treated the job, and each other, with steady respect since episode 1. Yağmur Yüksel brings a listening quality to scenes that lets partners risk quieter choices. Baris Bakas favors precision over display. He's the actor who cuts a showy gesture if a smaller one tells the truth better. When those temperaments meet, the work can feel like a long rehearsal for a life, without guaranteeing a life will follow. That's why rumors like this one get traction. They aren't built on fantasy, they're built on the possibility that craft can be the seed of something durable. The aftershocks on set. If you're picturing chaos, don't. The next morning, call time arrived as usual. Blocking happened. Marks were hit. A love scene scheduled for late afternoon was adjusted to privileged dialogue over proximity, not because anyone panicked, but because choosing grace is part of the job when a room's energy has shifted. Between setups, Yağmur and Baris did what they've always done, ran lines, compared cuts, joked with crew. Nothing performative. Nothing for the cameras that weren't rolling. What changed was invisible to a casual eye, a sense that 2 adults were taking care with a fragile, unnamed thing. That care looked like clearer boundaries around where scripts got discussed. It looked like a shared agreement to keep social media quiet until everyone's heads and hearts matched their faces. The fandom's better angels. The best part of yesterday's storm was how many fans chose decency over speed. Comment sections filled with reminders to avoid tagging family members into speculation. People called out accounts that tried to monetize the moment by inventing insider timelines. Others shared resources on how parasocial closeness can become unhealthy if we forget there are people, and coworkers, inside the story. It mattered. It lowered the temperature. It bought time. If there's a statement, will there be an official word? Maybe. If there is, expect it to be calm, short, and grown. If a relationship is beginning, the sentence will likely sound like we care for each other and are finding the right pace privately. If nothing beyond friendship is true, the line will probably read we value our partnership and ask that the work remain the focus. Either way, the right response from the rest of us is the same, accept the words given, stop asking for the ones withheld, and let 2 people keep their dignity. What to do with your feelings in the meantime? You're allowed to be moved by the possibility. You're allowed to root for an adult yes, clear, unpanicked, unperformative. You are not obliged to turn that rooting into pressure. Celebrate the craft that delivered you to this moment, stream the episodes, support the teams, keep the discourse kind. If you post, let your captions be blessings rather than demands. May what's true for them become clear in the time that's kind is a very good sentence. The clean summary. Here's what you can say and feel confident repeating. On a break during Kinsasekleri filming, Yağmur, Yüksel and Baris Bakas shared a private conversation that witnesses describe as heartfelt and direct. Multiple accounts agree that Yağmur expressed deep feelings and used the phrase "marry me" plainly, without theatrics. Baris responded with steadiness and asked for time to talk away from the pressure of set. The rumor spread faster than context, but inside the production, adults did adult things, protected the work, protected the people, and let the next day proceed. As of now, no public statement from either actor confirms or denies a romance. The respectful stance is patience. If you value this kind of coverage, measured, human, and sturdy enough for text-to-speech, please like the video, subscribe to Turkish Spotlight Secrets, and consider joining as a member so we can keep investing the time it takes to tell stories without breaking the people inside them. In the comments, tell us how you think bold honesty should be answered when work and heart collide, an immediate yes, a thoughtful pause, or something braver still, let's talk, off the clock. We read everything, and we moderate for kindness.